Daveji today morning, we will not able to hold officially this media briefing, which was scheduled earlier, but we will start with the 2 minutes of silence, and then Secretary will just go through the important points of the PPT, and later on he will be available with you here for 1 hour and interact with you informally. Sir, I request you all to stand and observe the silence for 2 minutes. Shri Upendra Tripathy ji, Honorable Interim Director of International Solar Alliance, to go through the PPT, giving the highlights of the activities and initiatives taken by the International Solar Alliance since it was launched in November 2015.
Friends, good morning. It's a pleasure to meet you all. In fact, you would be wondering, in the beginning I must say that the Honorable Minister for Environment, Mr. Thave, who expired, he was the one who signed the Marrakesh, at Marrakesh for India. He signed the declaration, the framework agreement. So he has a special relationship with ISA, and his name will be there forever as long as ISA is there, as the minister who represented India and signed the treaty for this. With that, the idea behind this meeting is that I know many friends here from my renewable energy days, but the idea is every month we meet, and Honorable Prime Minister and Minister from India, Mr. Piyush Goyal, they felt that ISA should interact every month at least once and tell what is happening and can take suggestions back. So the idea is to meet once in a month, but we sit in Gurgaon. In the National Institute of Solar Energy, we have taken 2 floors out of the 5 floors of NICE. So we will be guided by Mr. Malhotra as to how to proceed, because first international body, we are also exploring how to do it. So I was just telling him, why don't you give us somebody who can guide us, how to interact from an international side. But there we have a good meeting hall with the flags of 25 countries at the back. And whenever a VIP comes, we put 121 countries' flags right from the gate up to our point. So maybe when we meet there, we can meet with a good backdrop of the flags of the 25 countries who have signed. Today's main thing is, of course, in the evening when we meet, you will come to know something for which this may be the cotton danger, but there is a surprise. I won't tell you much about the evening, what is going to be there at the Leela Palace at 7 o'clock. You are most welcome. And but there something is going to happen which is really going to be a change maker. It will transform the way we are looking at the solar sector. As Reinvest did for India, the thing that we are going to do in the evening will do for the renewable energy sector. And ISA, is an open body. The steering committee is open to all countries. We welcome ideas from various countries, and the idea in the evening it has come from France. And we have been working in those areas, but a concrete proposal has come from France, and we are going to tell you more in the evening as to how it is going to work. The broad vision, of course, I'll let you know. there are partner organizations of France, Terawatt Initiative, CEEW, which is an Indian think tank, and they have the TCX, and also Confederation of Indian Industry has agreed to be a part of that group, which will make a concrete study as to how to design or get the architecture of an insurance fund. Now, essentially, if you talk to a company saying that please come and invest in solar, they say, look, your utility will not pay. The PPA will be delayed, and the panels may fail 25 years. These are the apprehensions of the companies, not only in India, elsewhere, so they don't come to the sector. We are talking about an insurance mechanism. Can I pay a premium? And somebody will say, look, it is like a health premium. I pay some premium, and whenever I am not well, I go to the hospital and there is encashment or there is a cashless facility. So this type of insurance fund can we create in this sector for solar, for the entire 121 countries. And if we can do it, we say, okay, you pay 1%. If tomorrow the utility doesn't pay, or the PPA is not signed, or there is any political risk or any other risk, that is covered, which means essentially we will pay 25% of your loan, or 50% of your loan, or 100% of your loan. These are called new financial instruments, financial mechanisms. And ISA and the International Secretariat of ISA, the Interim Secretariat of ISA in general, we are thinking of creating over a period of 10 years, $300 billion fund. Now, $300 billion is a big number. If you ask people to give a check, nobody is going to give a check for $300 billion. And even after 10 years, it becomes $30 billion per year. But the idea of ISA is not to ask for checks, nor to tell them to deposit the money. This $30 billion is the checks of assurance, of commitment, that if somebody has taken an insurance and the claim comes, then only you have to settle it. So essentially, $30 billion a year, every year $30 billion for 10 years, $300 billion. If we can get these assurances of $300 billion for 121 countries of ISA, what will happen? Because this will attract capital into this sector at the ratio of 1:10. If we put $1 in insurance, $10 will come by way of investment. So if we put $300 billion, $3,000 billion will come. Now, how do you manage $300 billion? It's not money, as I told you. It's not cash, as I told you. It's only assurances, right? So we think these assurances can come from multilateral banks, the World Bank, ADB, New Development Bank, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, or any other major banks, maybe KfW, others can also participate. They are the main actors. They can give 1/3. We propose, the Secretariat, the ISA proposes and advocates and would strive to do it. 1/3 should come from them. 1/3 should come from the Green Climate Fund, which is supposed to have $100 billion, to address climate issues. And another 1/3 can come from donor countries. For example, India. India has committed $10 billion for Africa. Now, can it give some money to cover its own industries who are going to put projects outside India? Suppose there is a problem, this insurance they can subscribe. So we think that this assurances of $30 billion, not money, that can come from donor countries, it can come from multilateral banks, it can come from multilateral banks, and it can also come from the Green Climate Fund. But as I told you, this is just an idea. It has to be approved by the steering committee. We have a steering committee open to all countries. We think that the assembly will be soon coming because 25 countries have signed, 3 countries have ratified, and ISA today is not a legal entity. It is a de facto entity. Some customary laws apply of international law to ISA. But to become a legal body under international law, we need ratification by 15 countries. So we are looking for a magic number of 12. In fact, yesterday we had invited some countries to interact, as a group in our ISA campus. And at the end, we put a magic show. And everybody liked it. But the wonderful thing the magician did, he said, you come and sit here, I can take your watch away, but you can't make it out. And he did take watch away for 2 people, they couldn't make out. Next time I can invite you all. But that magic number for ISA is 15. we need 12 more countries, and Government of India, Government of France, mostly the ME is doing a wonderful work. I mean, they have been contacting many countries. We are sure that we will get a large number of countries ratification by 22nd of May. We think if we get some more countries, and once the 15 countries ratify, we will have 30 days thereafter, this will come into legal existence. Many people bring up, where is ISA? ISA, our original building, for which the foundation stone was laid by the Honorable President of France and the Honorable Indian Prime Minister, is yet to take shape, because we have to get, the architectural design internationally. Now, unless ISA becomes a legal body internationally, you cannot float something internationally. You can't have a competition internationally. But right now we are given to CPWD and they had made a design, but the idea is you go for a global competition, get a design which everybody will stand and stare and say, okay, here is the building. And the first International Organization of India has a building which is memorable, which has a message to convey, and that is the idea we are looking at. So, as I told you, 121 prospective member countries, 25 signatory countries that came, and but if you look at, many people say it's a small number. It is not a small number. If you think of an international organization, it takes 4 to 5 years, and we are hardly 1.5 years old. So, countries have signed and 3 countries have ratified. Can I go to the next one? And next slide. Yes, of course. This is you are very familiar, in the presence of United Nations Secretary General, Honorable President of France and our Honorable Prime Minister in Paris. They launched this. Some 70 heads of the countries and governments were present. I was also present. There was no space to sit down inside. And those days, Paris, there was terrorist attacks before. So the big hall for 500 people was opened some 10 minutes before. And in 5 minutes, it was full. And many top people, when they came, there was no space to sit. I remember I left my seat for the Foreign Minister of Britain. And it was a very crowded place. But that also showed how much of interest people took for ISA. Next. Okay, this is the President of France who said, to begin this process, we need to have seed money, and it cannot be just from states, public funds. This is the reason why I thank all countries present and having this willingness. I'm thinking in particular the Netherlands, because it wanted to join France to set up the public funding. He was talking about, everybody is asking this question, 5 years India gives some money, $16 million corpus, some 15 crores per year, but after 5th year, who will run ISA? What is the guarantee that financial sustainability will be there? So to that, we are taking a proposal to the steering committee that we will invite Fortune 2000 companies. That means essentially 2,000 companies will be coming to Delhi or whatever place in India we say. ISA will interact, and this is subject to approval because this is only the interim secretariat's idea. Now, we will give them an offer of a corpus scheme. Now, right now this works like this. You give $1 million, you deposit with ISA and take back $5 million of benefit. Not cash we can't give, benefit. Now, what are the benefits they can get with $1 million? First thing is, the $1 million can never be spent. This will be in ISA corpus, and after 5th year, from that interest money, a portion will come for running of ISA. Because membership fee is not there. For example, IRENA gets around $22 million every year as membership fee. But we don't have membership fee for ISA, because the idea was make it free and make more people, more countries come in more quickly. So out of that $1 million, like Solar Energy Corporation of India has already given $1 million. IREDA has given $1 million. And NTPC and others like Power Finance Corporation, REC, Coal India Limited, they're all willing to give $1 million each under the scheme because the benefits are attractive. Now, what are these benefits they will get? The moment Coal India Limited gives $1 million, 1 million, only 1 million, not more, not less. The interest that comes, 15% of that interest will be used to give a solar award. This will be Coal India Limited Solar Award. The scientists will be chosen from 121 countries. And so Coal India Limited, or right now SECI and IREDA's name will reach 121 countries. And second thing is 70% of that interest, say whatever money that comes, 1 million is around 6 crores, and even if you get 10%, it will be around, 60 lakh. Huh? 40 lakhs. And out of that, 15% will go for the award in the name of Coal India Limited. And 70% of that money will go to distribute solar lamps. But this lamp will be unique. This lamp will have logo of Coal India Limited all over. So whether it reaches Togo or Grenada or Zambia or India, anywhere, they will know this is from Coal India Limited. They reach out to the poor. They enable students to get light. And apart from that, what we will do in the cyber platform of ISA, the corporation will get a chance to talk to 121 countries for half an hour every year. Number 4, the reinvest that we will have, they will get special privileges. But more importantly, we are following the Millennium Park model from Chicago. If ever you go to Chicago, that park, they have 3 marble pillars, and it lists out the names of the donors on marble. And the same thing ISA will do. These 1,000 companies, out of the 2,000 Fortune companies, those who give, their names will be written in golden letters. And somebody told that if the company closes down tomorrow, the name will not close down from there. Once they give, the name is always there. We looked out if $1 million, how many pages of art they can put, or in how many airports you can put the company's name total. It is not much. But with this $1 million, if they come with a corpus for ISA, these are the benefits they are going to get: a good name for giving an award, a good name to reach out to the poor, give solar lamps in their name, have their names in the marble, and more importantly, they will be a corporate partner of ISA. Once in a year, they will meet in India, all the 1,000 corporate partners. They will debate, they will carry out dialogue, and they will give recommendations to the ISA assembly as to what they think ISA should do. They get a voice indirectly, to influence ISA's actions as to how it will benefit the globe. This is one thing that we are thinking of, ensuring financial sustainability. This is very interesting, where the Honorable Prime Minister said that this is going to be an international body, and the basis for a treaty comes from this speech of Honorable Prime Minister, where he said how ISA is going to be. Next. Objectives. This is very critical because, no international organization has got programs first without a building. And we are the ones who have programs before building. Scaling solar applications for agricultural use. Today, some 14 companies of India are willing to export 640,000 of solar pumps to Africa. And the funding will be by the government of India. Now, does it promote Make in India? Of course it does. So we put in our web page, any company who is interested in putting pumps in solar pumps in Africa, please give your figures. 640,000 figures we have got. We have got figures for street lights. We have got figures for mini grids, how many mini grids they can put, street lights in hospitals, communities. And those Indian street lights, when they put, there will be a special tricolor or something to identify that it is from India, it is in that village outside India. And this is not only for India. Any country who is having overseas development assistance budgets, like India has earmarked 20% of their budget for solar. Out of $10 billion for Africa, they have earmarked $2 billion for solar. It's unique. And it's important. And that is something we have been telling all other countries who have overseas development assistance to follow suit, to reserve 20%. And, but agriculture, we are aiming at the farmers, how the pumps can come. Uganda has, but then there's question, what is the concrete benefit ISA can give? We can divert money, we can persuade countries, we can advocate countries to take up. But the concrete thing is, for example, Bangladesh has said that they need 50,000 pumps. Uganda has said that they need 30,000 pumps. India, of course, needs 100,000 pumps. Now, if we put 100,000, 30,000 and 50,000, 180,000 pumps together, and ask EESL or Solar Energy Corporation of India to put a global tender, will the prices come down? We think it will come down because of the figure, 180,000 pumps. And more countries may join tomorrow from the ISA. So more the volume, less will be the price. So this is a concrete benefit for the member countries. If you join, we can aggregate. We can aggregate the volume and go for global tenders through a professional agency, and it will come down. India is good, in some coal auctions have been done, reverse auctions are being carried out. So we have got the expertise, and that can be done. Affordable finance at scale, I explained at the beginning how we are trying to get the $3,000 billion, $1,000 billion of, $300 billion of insurance fund. And today, as I told you, thanks to France, in the evening we will have a concrete thing, one part of that big picture, maybe $30 billion from $300 billion, for which they are making a study, and there is a time frame, and we will get this fund in place with the support of most of the countries. Affordable finance at scale, IRIDA did some small experiment. They brought in 3 new instruments with the funding from KfW, and those schemes are doing well. Green bonds are coming, masala bonds are coming, things are opening up, and we need more money to this sector, to the affordable finance. But most wonderful thing, you must have heard about the UK-India scheme, the program where £125 million is given by India, £125 million is given by UK. Put together, they use it as equity fund. If you have a company tomorrow and you need equity in the solar field, you can approach this fund saying that you give equity to me. Once you have equity, then loan of course comes. And they think that they will get equal amount from the private sector, and this equity of £500 million for the green sector, partly it will serve the solar sector also. We would like more funds to come in like this. And financing solar with more than 1,000 billion, that of course I discussed. Capacity building is very important. We are trying to identify, I'll give you one example. I went to the IGNO, and they have a fabulous campus. And with Japanese aid, they have built a center. From there, they contact the satellite. From satellite, they beam educational courses for various countries. We are trying to, ISA and IGNO together will open a solar center. And from that solar center to all the member countries, we will beam solar courses, like what we are doing for Surya Mitras here. That will be globalized. And we will say that all member countries can get 300 students free, first come, first basis. And that, of course, ISA has to work with IGNO. There are a lot of things India can actually showcase. Many countries can showcase for that matter. So what Secretariat is doing, they are trying to find the best practices from all these countries, which can be shared. And that is the capacity building that we are talking about. In terms of interns, in terms of training of officers, in terms of visit by industry, in terms of creating a database of pro bono consultants. ISA, the ISA consultancy scheme that we are talking about, we will create volunteers of consultants who can go abroad at a, the airfare and local hospitality will be charged by the country concerned, but they won't charge any money. And the next point is the Infopedia. In fact, today evening we have kept that beta trial, but beta trial is only a trial, and that Ms. Isabella Kosher, the chief executive of NG, and who is also the ex-officio chairperson of Terawatt Initiative, long back I had promised her that, when you come to India, we'll give you the chance to inaugurate it. And, but today we don't have the whole thing in place. We are in touch with Microsoft. We are trying to get the links together. But the beta version with 25 connections will be tried today. And, but one day we will have 121 connections. The Prime Minister can address from that to other Prime Ministers. The policymakers can talk to each other. And this Infopedia has 3 rooms. Room number 1, where the policymakers can talk to each other. Room number 2, we'll have 1,000 videos on solar best practices. It can be solar in hospitals, it can be solar in the farming sector, it can be solar in health, solar in agriculture, solar in industry. These 1,000 videos will be will be there in the library, and that is the second room of Infopedia. The third room in the Infopedia will be a country counter, where 121 countries can go, like India can go and say, look, we give 10 years tax holiday. We have an automatic route for investment. So each country can display how investment can come to solar. So Infopedia is a unique design. And of course, as and when it is fully ready, the Prime Minister will speak to other ministers or Prime Ministers from other countries. That will take some time. We are trying to link up through Skype. Microsoft is on the job. And that is a major thing that will happen. and that will be used for 24 hours. It is what we do at 3:30 p.m. in the afternoon when we are planning to put it through the Honorable Prime Minister. 68 countries are awake because that is the time zone we are talking about. And then this records the whole thing and keeps on replaying every 6 hours so that the countries who are sleeping at that point of time can watch it later. And then we will use it for corporates. Like, if NTPC puts $1 million, NTPC can come and use this platform to talk to 121 countries, their corporate sector, and say what best they are able to do. And technology, of course, as you know, we are trying to create a public domain of available technologies which easily people can access. Next one. This already I have covered. Money comes from voluntary contribution, earnings and corpus funding, other possible sources. India has committed for 5 years, 27 million, and 5 acres of land, another 5 acres will be given. IRIDA and SECI have contributed 1 million each, and to corpus scheme that I talked about of $1,000 million. Next. Specialized agency, global solar space. This is a unique body. As we told you, it is more focused on solar, action-oriented, it is member-driven, it is a catalyst, it is a facilitator. It is not a bank, of course, as I have told you, but it facilitates financing up in this sector. It would put in place instruments so that more money comes into this sector. It aggregates like LED bulbs. It would like to aggregate solar pumps, street lights, bulbs, so that the cost comes down for the member countries. Okay, the color, countries which have signed, which have ratified. Next. Countries who have signed, we have given the list in the folder, and I don't have to spend more time on this.
We can focus on the important ones.
Yes. So these, of course, Africa, Middle East, 53 countries, 15 have signed. Europe, 3, 1 has signed. Latin America, 32, 2 have signed. Australia, 12, 4 have signed. This is the, you are all familiar with this. Go ahead. Yes, this is again a breakup of number of ISA countries from which area they have done, and the Eurasia part, how many people have been trained by India from these countries, the policymakers. 114 participants, and number of ISA countries is 95. Next. Scaling of solar applications I have already covered. These are the things we are doing for the farmers. Network of test and common standards, protocols, quality insurance, harmonized in tendering. These are the benefits that will come if a country is a member. Next. This is solar applications for agriculture, participating countries, Bangladesh, Ethiopia, France, India, Nigeria, Seychelles, Sri Lanka, and Uganda, and more countries are coming in. This is scaling solar applications for agriculture program again. The type of, as I told you, 64,000 numbers the companies are willing to put in Africa, Indian companies, and $6.64 billion will be the requirement. Mini grids, nano grids, they are also willing. And mechanics, they would like to train 10,000 people there. Affordable finance at scale, this I have covered, and there is nothing new in that, and rest all is in the folder. And again, the same thing, some countries have participated, and we are trying to get $30 billion. This also I covered, ADB, IFC, NDB, AIB, AFDB, African Development Bank, Latin American Development Bank, European Investment Bank, who opened the office here. They are all, we are trying to get them participate in the program. This is the infopedia I talked about, 3 rooms, the 1 room with the member countries, and 1 room, 1,000 solar practices, and the member countries for video interaction. And there we go, thank you. And in addition to that, today's main 4 points is that the common risk mitigation mechanism, in the evening it will come. I don't know, Honorable Minister, because of sudden, unexpected and sad demise of the Honorable Minister for Environment to be coming or not, but he was scheduled to come, and he's one who favors this thing. He says that we must get $1,000 billion, and he's very much after this. Second is the infopedia. That is something unique we are doing. So first point is common risk mitigation mechanism, which is something new we are doing. Second, something new is infopedia, where we can access, and I told you. Third is ISA and IGNO are tying up so that we can beam solar things, and we are going to take it to other countries also. It is not merely India. It is other countries who have similar facilities. So when we come together collectively, the benefits will be more. And Then the thing that I didn't mention, I just told 78 megawatt of green, mini grids will be put. That is something that third scheme will be inaugurated. So to sum up again, common risk mitigation mechanism, number 1. Number 2, Infopedia. And number 3, ISA IGNO scheme, to beam more of solar education. And 4th is solar mini grid schemes for island countries. That is going to be shortly launched. And thank you, thanks a lot. We have also given, this is called the work program for 17 and 18. This is just a list of ideas which the Honorable Minister took for 1 hour to discuss. And this is all in the folder. But this is all subject to the steering committee, so these are ideas we've given. Thank you all.
The questions can be
Yes.
taken later on, there outside.
No.
Here.
Take some questions, then I'll return.
The questions. 4 or 5 questions, if someone, please.
Hi, Kieran Stacey from the Financial Times. You talked about some of the funding helping drive down prices. We've seen a couple of auctions in India recently where prices have been very low indeed. Are you concerned at all that some of these low bids that are being made here in India are so low that the projects might not actually get completed?
See, ISA is not the, we don't give opinions on the actions taken by companies, but I have been always frank. I'll tell you, as my personal opinion is that these companies have the best of brains, maybe better than you and me. So they do a lot of computer simulation, modeling, and they do the pricing. So the cost of capital in India is almost 70% of the project cost for that. So if they can get cheaper capital, but my only point is that if you ever join one of those companies and you go inside, you will find, they have best of brains to decide how to compete, when to exit and all that. So I never question the ability of those companies. I believe in them and I believe in their genius. So I will not say something they have done, knowingly that is not sustainable. That will be sustainable. See, when 4 rupees 50 paisa came, we are all worried, right? We are all talking about, is it feasible? Today it's 2 rupees 44 paisa. So there must be some, logic somewhere. And we are happy it is coming down. Yesterday we saw a film for 3 minutes which says by 2030, cost will come down further. Lot more than this. It's a good thing if it comes, and if Elon Musk brings down the cost of storage, it is Ramarajya in energy. You don't have to really be connected to the grid.
And India.
Sir, if you could probably tell us how much money, seed money, equity, whatever it is, ISA already has by now, and which are the 3 countries that have ratified?
See, 3 countries which have ratified, India of course is first because we are the host country. France did thereafter because they are the co-host. And third is Nauru. Nauru has done it, N-A-U-R-U. But we are getting a few more ratifications. Our magic figure of 15 is there. How much money we have? We would like to have a lot of money, but we don't have. 100 crores is the money Government of India have given, but that money you can't touch. It is frozen. Only the interest you can spend. Typical Indian thing, you put some money, interest you spend, so that money is safe. And then they give 15 crores per year. So that will be for 5 years. So that will be 75 crores. And of course, when IRENA was put, there was a tender. There was a tender as to which country will bid how much. Austria bid $5 million. Germany, I think 9 million euros. India, I don't know how much. I think we must have been 1 million or so. But United Arab Emirates gave a blank check saying that you put the headquarters here, we will give all the money. So initially there was a demand that the ISA headquarters should not, they should discuss. And how do you decide where the headquarters will be? And if today you open it up, there are countries who will take it for $100 million, you don't know. But we want this in India. Now I'm not speaking as ISA interim DG, but as earlier this thing. So we wanted it in India. We requested everybody, and it was put in India. So at that point, we committed so much. They were all saying, no, it's not much, But those are things that goes on. The building we have to construct, and the building, the Indian Honorable Minister from India has said that you go for a global competition. And that, of course, you can, like Kidwai Nagar, you can build it, give some land, and they build it free or something, you can find it out. Or if we want the headquarters to be here, we have to give those things.
By when do we see the tender coming out?
Tender for
global competition and design.
Oh, it not before the legally we are there.
You have to first get.
We have to be first legally existent, then we have to do. So the assembly has to approve it.
Sir.
So you would be a legal body only when 15 countries ratify the ISA. So 12 more countries have to do it. So how soon do you expect it to happen? If it takes a long time, then ISA will remain only a tentative plan, right?
After this, we'll go to a person who does some sort of forecasting. We can meet him, but we are trying to get it quickly.
Quickly, in the sense, if you can give a time frame, is there have the country shown interest that in a particular time frame?
After the meeting, we'll both discuss what has been done. I can't share it, openly, but individually I can tell you. In fact, Honorable Prime Minister is very, concerned, and they are taking all measures to see that most countries are convinced, and quickly we get the ratification done.
Any of the countries who have shown more interest for ratification?
Yes, quite a few.
Like, can you name a few? You three are already ratified. More anything?
You don't write. Fiji is one.
Don't write.
Yeah, don't write about that because it's a process. It's a diplomatic process.
So many
countries. Yeah. No. Don't write that. The moment you that's why I told after this we can meet.
Shilpa.
So apart from power sector PSUs, are you also going to call other PSUs for the contribution to corpus?
See, the corpus, as we are proposing, subject to approval by the Assembly or the Steering Committee, we will focus on 2,000 Fortune 2,000 companies. So these are given a special concession, okay? But if they are not a Fortune 2000 companies, later on, for example, Seki or Irida, they would like to give later, they can't give because that will be limited to Fortune 2000 companies. So this is an early bird concession for, Maharatnas and all that they are willing to put in. But later on, suppose a company is not a Fortune 2000 company, it may not come. And we presume that if we request 2,000 companies, 1,000 companies will give because this is very attractive. 1 million you give and all the benefits that you get is very attractive.
So just one clarification. So as of now, we have 100 crore in the corpus.
Yes, 7 crores interest you will get. But if you put in dollars, I think you'll get 4%. But in rupees, you get 7 to 8%. With that.
You talked about the contribution from Fortune 2000 companies. So the Indian companies who contribute, is there a plan to consider it as CSR spending, the money that they give to ISA? The $1 million contribution.
ISA has not gone into those details. It is left to them. It is left to them. But see, this is it's not a contribution. It's an investment. In fact, I won't use the word contribution. It's an investment in publicity, because you invest $1 million, you get so many scope, in the next 25 years to publicize yourself. You get an award in your name. You give lamps to the poor. So that is what we are saying. That's useful. This thing.
Thank you.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
Sir, in spite of so much of promise, it's a very promising sector and the ideas are pretty good. Why it is, and everybody across the world is going for solar, why it is still countries are reluctant or coming slowly on the board?
I didn't get it. Why?
In spite of all that potential, why the ratification is taking time? Our countries are slowly on the board?
In fact, any international treaty you find, it's a long drawn process because countries first decide is there a financial implication. If there is a financial implication, it goes to the parliament. That is why, to make it faster, we removed that membership fee, compulsory or mandatory membership fee. That is why it will be faster. But, and then of course, international, some politics, some will come in, some countries. So it's a long-term process, but we are very sure that more and more countries will ratify. It will come through. It's gaining momentum.
Give a timeline.
Are you expecting any major countries, big countries? Israel, Fiji or Norway are very minor countries.
No, we don't say major or minor. All countries are equal, sovereign.
Major in the terms of both the land areas as well as potential.
No, we don't use that term. They are all equal. They're all equal. See, Brazil, Brazil is trying to do it quickly. Brazil is a big country. France has done it. UK, USA and all that, they want some amendments which will take a little time, because amendments can come only after 1 year of the treaty coming into force.
How many?
So, India and France both are trying their best to facilitate the process. We need your support also. You write that it is something and countries should come and ratify.
So we can write now about Brazil.
About?
Brazil, France and
No, these are diplomatic issues, interstate relation. It should not be talked, because that then you have to talk to MEA, verify, and then do it. Then, thank you. Thanks a lot.